Hey everyone, we're going to simplify each radical expression in simplest radical form. There's six problems here, and you need to know your perfect squares. We're doing this without a calculator. So here's the first one. So what we want to do is simplify this by first dividing this up by perfect squares. I know that 9 divides 18, so I can rewrite this as square root of 9 times the square root of 2. Also know that 4 divides 8, so I can rewrite this as square root of 4 times square root of 2. Or you could put it all together, but you have to break it up anyway. You could write it as square root of 9 times 2, and then break it up. But anyway, the square root of 9 is 3, and you still have the square root of 2. The square root of 4 is 2, and you still have the square root of 2. Now we're going to add these up because these are like terms. This is like saying negative 3x minus 2x because these are like terms. And that would be negative 5x. But in our case, this would equal negative 5 square root of 2. And that's your final answer. Okay, the next one's very similar. I know I can break up 20 with 4, so I'm going to break that up as 4 times 5. And I can break up 95 with the perfect square of 9. 9 times 5. I can rewrite this as square root of 4 times the square root of 5 minus square root of 9 times the square root of 5. So square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3. And again, like the previous video, these are like terms, so this is going to be negative square root of 5. Again, this is like saying 2x minus 3x, which equals negative x. Our x happens to be square root of 5. Okay, this next one. Now, I want to pick the biggest perfect square I can for this. You can keep breaking it down, but I know that 16 divides 32 by 2, so I'm going to write it like that. All right, so we're using 16. I also know, okay, anything with the 0 in it or a 5, that's probably going to be your 25, not unless you get into the bigger numbers. So we're going to break up 50 as 25 times 2. So now I can break it up some more. So it's square root of 16 times the square root of 2 minus 7 times the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. Now, square root of 16 is 4. And the square root of 25 is 5. Now multiply those so you get 20 square root of 2 minus 35 square root of 2. And again, this is like saying 20x minus, 20x minus 35x, which would be negative 15x. Our x happens to be square root of 2, so our final answer is really going to be negative 15 square root of 2. That's coming from here. All right, and the next one. All right, again, you see this 0 here. So I'm going to use 25. So it's going to be 25. Think of that as $1.50. So it's going to be 25 times 6. 6 quarters make that. Now this one's a little harder. 96. So we use 25. So let's try 4. See if 4 goes into that. So 4 goes into 96 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. So we get 24. So it looks like we can break that up even further. 96. So what I'm going to do is write this as 4 times 24. Right, so we get a square root of 25 times the square root of 6 plus 2 times square root of 4 times square root of 24. So this is 5 square root of 6 plus 2 square root of 4. Now I'm going to break down 24 again by 4. So that's going to be 4 times 6. So what we have is 5 square root of 6 plus 2 times 2 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. So we have 5 square root of 6 plus 2 times 2 times 2 square root of 6. So that's going to give me 5 square root of 6 plus 8 square root of 6. Now, when I did this part, what I should have done is done 16. So from here, what I could have written, and I'll just look at this one. I could have written this as 2 times 16 times 6. But I wasn't sure about it, so I could have used 16. Now, finally, we have to add these up. 5 plus 8 is 13, so we have 13 square root of 6. But if you're not sure, you can keep breaking it down like I did. Okay, this one, let's see if we can do this. 28 is 4 times 7. So I'm using 4. We can't break up 7 because that's prime. And do we have a perfect square for 63? Yeah, 9. So 9 times 7 is 63. So we're going to write 3 square root of 4 times the square root of 7 minus 2 square root of 7 plus 3 square root of 7. And what we get is 3 times 2 square root of 7 minus 2 square root of 7. I already took the square root of 9 plus 3 square root of 7. This gives me 6 square root of 7 minus 2 square root of 7 plus 3 square root of 7. Now if I do these two, I get 1 square root of 7. So 1 plus 6, that's going to be 7 square root of 7. Again, it's like saying 6x minus 2x plus 3x. And you can go in any order. You could have said 6x plus 3x is 9x minus 2x and still got your 7. Okay, the last one. This one's a little different. So we square root of 11 plus I can break up 44 with the 4 there. So that's going to be square root of 4 times the square root of 11 minus square root of 13. So we have square root of 11 plus 2 times square root of 11 minus square root of 13. So this is 3 square root of 11 minus square root of 13. You cannot combine these. This is like saying 3x minus y. So we're done at this stage. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.